Hi everyone, welcome to episode 4 of That's a Wrap, What's Next? Today I have a new guest, as I always do. This is Luke O'Donnell. He is a filmmaker, a DJ, a photographer, and in his last year in a bachelor's degree. Where are you studying?
I'm at Sydney Film School at Excelsior College under the Waterloo Studios building.
Double whammy. And we're going to talk about filmmaking today for the most part, cinematography, writing, your projects. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I haven't actually had too many opportunities to, speak about this kind of stuff in detail other than just like a passing conversation with people. So yeah, looking forward to delving into a few things.
Yeah, the whole nice clear out in a video format.
Exactly.
It's the best kind of format. So let's start. You've just done, this was a while back now, a delivery deadline. How long ago was that?
Yeah, so that was my project for my second year of the bachelor's degree last year. Everyone in our class pitched a film and everyone got one made. So that was kind of my project for the most part of that year. We finished it up in about, I think the final cut was in November and we put it out in December.
That's crazy. And you won an award with this. Do you want to tell everyone how that went? What happened? What festival?
Yeah, so it was probably the film project that I put the most effort into and that I'm most proud of to date. So I thought it was only natural to kind of get into the film festival circuit, start putting it into quite a few. I think I entered about 12 all up.
Wow.
And over the course of this year, it was kind of getting notifications whether it was or wasn't selected. And I got lucky with one in Malaysia, entered the student category while I'm a student. So I'm not competing with, adults with massive budgets, even though they're making short films. So that was a nice surprise, something to wake up to that was quite nice.
That's awesome. And so 12 festivals, you usually have to pay money to, how expensive did that look for you?
Look, we don't really have to talk about that, but no, look, I'm thinking of it as investing in my future because, I'm submitting these festivals. All I need is like one kind of director or producer to see it and be like, hey, just reach out and be like, hey, I loved your work. Let's work on something. So it might not happen. It may happen. So
you never know.
Got to try.
It's worth it though.
I think I was sitting about $300 for festivals.
It's not like atrocious.
It's not the worst.
Not atrocious.
But yeah,
for a student filmmaker, that's like pretty hefty.
I think the reason I went in like 12 was because there were a lot of cheaper ones rather than going, because like I got a notification from one yesterday, and with Film Freeway, which is the platform that you use to submit with everything. They sometimes send out emails where festivals, like, they somehow have your email and contact and they're like, hey, please submit to our festival. I'm like, okay, this one looks kind of professional. I look and like the entrance fee is like $95.
Jeez.
So I kind of stuck to the like $20, $30, $15 ones just so I could kind of go in more. But yeah, I guess you get what you pay for. You get more experience or more exposure with those more expensive ones, but it's a bit about balance. So.
And you've still got another year of making stuff. So
so the project I'm kind of working on next, it's definitely a lot bigger scale.
So
our brief got told was 15 to 20 minutes. So
wow. Okay, before we get to that, can you explain to everyone that doesn't know, little brief on delivery deadline? What was that about?
For sure. So the log line for delivery deadline is a hacker poses as a delivery driver to break into the local millionaire's house. However, once he gets there, he realizes that not everything is as it seems.
How scary. How thrilling. And from watching it, I can say I was thrilled.
Thank you.
And that also featured Bianca Lombardo, who was here 2 weeks ago now. So there you go. There's a little network system for you.
Definitely.
And you wrote that one.
I did. I wrote that one. So it was funny because I wrote it as a drama. It was supposed to be, just kind of classic drama. And then when we read through the script in class, it got a lot of laughs. Some of the dialogue people found really funny, just to a couple of the themes that are in the film. I won't go into them too much, but some people thought of it as a comedy. And I was like, that's really interesting because I didn't even consider that when I was writing it. Even our script writing teacher at the time, he said that, he found it quite comedic. And it was weird, because I never really envisioned that. So it was interesting having other people kind of tell me how they interpreted the script when I was kind of thinking completely different. And I'm not complaining because it is nice. It's this kind of drama. It's lighthearted as well. It's got those little bits of comedy throughout it. So
It must be weird though, because I also had experience when you just pitch your script to a whole group and it's not, you're always going to get a different reaction. Like, and if people are seeing it suddenly as comedy, like, did you feel really weirded out by that? Were you kind of like, oh, of course, like, makes sense? Or was it like a whole self-crisis? Like, what have I written? And,
Yeah, look, I can't remember because it was actually it was quite a while ago, like last year. I can't exactly remember the class. But even when we watched over it again this year, it still got laughs at points.
Wow.
And it was kind of just nice because like I can tell people are just like, they're not taking it too seriously, which is nice. Like if I was really trying to make it, you know, really sad or something, and then people were laughing, I'd be like, oh, I've kind of failed. But like looking back, I can definitely see how I could have even played into that more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's maybe something to think about in the future.
Yeah. And I feel like it's good as well because then you can now like practice more of a comedy skill and then go like, and I've seen you do, what was that one ages ago, like in the first year that you showed us, and it was like
Was it a comedy?
it was not sad.
Soldier. The one with Dean.
No, it was, I think you filmed it before film school and it had a girl and her best friend.
Oh, that's right. Until the end.
And that was really sad.
Yeah, that was my first kind of directing. It was a tiny crew, like it was me, a sound guy, and the two actors. And that was a film I did at the end of year 11. I'd got an email from Sydney Film School saying, we're offering, or from Excelsior College saying we're offering this scholarship for the bachelor program.
That's awesome.
And I was in the end of year 11. I was like, oh, okay, I might try and go for this. And so I wrote this 3-minute short film and found out, later on at the end of year 11, I won that scholarship, which is where I'm studying now. So that
I
was
didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, that was an emotional little film. And it was quite emotional. It kind of set me on that path of, I really like writing this emotional stuff now. It's something the audience can connect with. So I'm really trying to incorporate that as much as I can into my practice.
I love that. Okay, so you obviously love making films.
Yes.
The classic, how did it start for you? What got you into it?
It's a bit of an embarrassing story, really.
Oh.
But I don't actually tell this to too many people. But
well, now the whole podcast gets to hear.
Oh, it's fine. No. So I kind of only really got into cameras. I remember I'd just be like young, and I'd see these people with these massive, I say massive, but like DSLR cameras, this big. I thought they were massive, and I was like, they look really cool. Yeah. I want to be like that.
That's not embarrassing at all.
But then I got gifted a camera, like a tiny little one, by a family friend when I was like 9, and I took that on a trip to Japan that I went to with mum and dad, and I don't know, that kind of just started my love for photography. And on top of the thinking it's really cool to have this big camera, I found out that I was actually kind of good at it and really enjoying it, and loved kind of making content and capturing things. So
that's so wholesome.
Yeah, a little bit. And then I kind of went into the idea of like, oh, maybe I want to work in TV, and then kind of had a few experiences there, and I was like, oh, maybe not. And I found film, and I was like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. If
you don't mind mentioning what the TV stuff was that made you decide.
Yeah. I don't know. I went to Channel 7 and Channel 9 in year 10 for work experience. Channel 7 one was fantastic. I was working on a TV show called Between Two Worlds. I was doing a lot of stuff in the production office, and that was really fun. That was kind of more of a film kind of vibe because it was like a TV show. It wasn't like news. When I went to Channel 9 for the work experience, there's a lot of waiting around, and I only did like one story a day, and then I think it just wasn't catered too well for work experience students. It could be different, but even just the kind of vibe I was getting from the other camera people was just like, it is just like going out, doing a story. You don't have too much creative freedom compared to like TV shows and filming. And it's kind of very run and gun rather than, planning it out, shot listing, talking with different crew members. And it's kind of just you and maybe a sound person and the reporter. So it was, I don't know, it just was a little bit underwhelming for me personally. I can see why other people would like it, but I kind of just was like, man, maybe TV isn't exactly what I want to go into. Yeah,
well, that's a good way to discover it, I guess. It's like a very safe work experience world to learn that lesson really quickly.
Nothing could really
and you learned that
wrong.
So early in your life as well, so that's good. You can just go straight into your bachelor degree.
I've had a couple of lucky little experiences like that. Like I actually went to Channel 9 ages ago. I probably would have been about 10 or 11 because we had a family friend who's a reporter there and knew that I was into like TV at that time. So she kind of organized a private tour, got to go and see like the Channel 9 set, talk to the Peter Overton, the presenter, went to the Current Affairs set, which was next door. I read the Current Affair news story and they filmed it and I've got that on disc somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
And I was reading off like the auto cue and it said, hi, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. So 10-year-old Luke's there like, hi, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. So that was kind of embarrassing.
If this was one of those late night shows, I'd probably put that clip up on the screen behind us.
I think for the embarrassment of me, I think we might hold off
just skip on that one. Yeah. I'll just link it below instead. It's fine. No. Oh my God, now I want to see it.
Maybe.
After you guys don't get to see.
We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe one day. Maybe if I ever win an Oscar or something, I have to have it there in the background.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. That makes sense.
Hold off and support my work till then so you can see it.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand. So your photography, if everyone follows Luke on Instagram, what's your Instagram? I'll link it below.
It's Luco37.
Okay, follow that. Luke does photography, and I don't know what your most recent photography thing was that you posted. You have a very specific style, and I'm curious about it. I've never asked you, but I want to know why. What is this style?
Yeah, I really like my night kind of neon vibes, and I've kind of gone from street photography into like more portrait photography. I think the most recent shoot I did was just like this photo shoot with a model, and we just kind of just did stuff around the city. I just wanted to get practicing like getting skin tones right and getting lighting right, so we kind of just did that and posted that. But to getting into that, I found a few photographers on YouTube. Their name's North Borders, Seventh Era, Hayden Peterson. They do all these like behind the scenes videos of them going out on photo shoots. And at the time I was kind of just like, it was a really good watch and it was something I was really interested in. So I kind of started to practice their style because them posting these tutorials on how they do things showed me like, oh, this is how you do it. I might go and incorporate it into my practice. So I'd start to go out, and they came to Sydney actually and did this photo walk they put on their Instagrams and like, everyone come down this photo walk, meet fellow creatives. And at the end of that photo walk, a bunch of us just made this group chat. It was about 10 of us. And
I remember this story. I remember you told me this, yeah.
And so we had Sydney creators, and that was our little photography gang. And this is like the year 9, 10 mark. And so we just like planned photo shoots in the city. We'd send a message to the chat being like, oh, who wants to go out to do a shoot tonight? We get like
fun.
4 or 5 of us. Yeah. And there was a couple of guys in there that were just like mates of mates that were like models. So we'd have them coming out as well. And we just catch up a few of us in the city, have dinner, take some photos, which was really good. And then over the years, it kind of like people started to drop away and people got busy, and there's kind of like a core group of about 4 or 5 of us now. But
that's nice.
It's still really nice, and just going back to that original story on how like none of us would have met if these photographers hadn't come to Sydney, and we'd kind of just had this chat and formed this group. So and they're some of like my closest mates now. So
that's amazing.
Really nice.
It always happens in the strangest ways, like the connections you make with people.
And I have like a group photo of us from right at the start, and I can see like 2 of my closest mates, and we're like really close to each other, but had no idea who each other were.
God, that's so
which
fun.
was really cool. So we look at that occasionally. It came up from my Instagram like recap the other day, and I was like, oh, I remember that.
So you've been doing photos for quite a while. Do you notice like a big jump across any certain time of your life where it was like, here's my quality of photos in like, I don't know, 2016, and then this is what they look like in 2024, and they're a million times different? Or is it quite similar, or is it very like a slow growth? Like do you notice your growth?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how my photos have progressed over the years. Like when I started out with street photography, that's kind of me going out by myself or with a few people just and taking photos of like streets or like trams or nothing with like a subject too much. Whereas when I started getting into like the more model stuff, that was actually having to like direct people and come up with pose ideas. And like still to this day, I hate going out on model photo shoots unless I know the person. Like if I have DJs or anyone like being like, oh, can we get some photos? I'm just like, yeah, because I need the money. And then, but at the same time, I feel really like I'm still not 100% confident with it.
Right.
Which I guess is just something I need to work up to. And the more I do it, the more I'll get confident with it. But yeah, I think just as I've kind of grown over the years, I've got better gear, which has kind of helped me on top of my own skills to kind of get different styles of photos and experiment with different things. And I can definitely see a progression as I've come over the years, which is nice to see. Yeah.
Do you find that being able to direct actors is similar to directing models, or is it completely different world, or does one help the other?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, wow. I feel like with actors, you've got, with my experiences anyway, I've got a script for them. They've learnt the lines, and I just need to kind of tweak how they kind of perform those lines and the way that their body movements or body language can match with how they're saying things to kind of, those are the only real things that I've had to tweak when speaking with actors. Whereas with models, it's kind of like all about you're making their movements look natural or their poses look natural, because a lot of model poses aren't just them standing there. They're doing like weird things with their arms and trying to like frame their faces or whatever. So trying to get that to look natural is the hardest part, and coming up with different variations of that and not doing the same thing over and over again. I think that's the tricky part. But again, it's just like the more you do it, you see other people's work, get inspiration, that kind of thing. You just,
Because and when you said the body language of the actors, which not every director I think that I've personally worked with is about body language. Like it's interesting the different directing styles that people have. And it sounds like maybe the model photography body language stuff there has moved to your acting.
Yeah.
Kind of like the physical, which is
Yeah,
really
it makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, again, like with performance and things, like I'm just thinking back to Delivery Deadline because that was kind of the first major like directing role I had where I wasn't like shooting it and editing as well. I had to definitely focus on making sure my story came across as like how my story came across through their performance, and it was up to me to tweak that. If something wasn't completely right, if they hadn't interpreted my writing in a certain way, it was on me to just like say, oh, can you say it a bit differently? When I first gave the script to Bianca and the others, I wrote up a document kind of just explaining each kind of scene and saying like, this is kind of what you're thinking at this point. So like when they're kind of saying their lines, they can have that in the back of their mind and say like, I'm saying the line with this intention. I'm saying the line because I'm feeling this way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
And that helped me as well because it helped me understand exactly what I wanted, and I think it helped them understand what I wanted.
Yeah. That's the hardest thing. Well, it's not always hard, but sometimes being on the exact same page as someone else is actually a lot more of a journey than you'd
especially
think.
when it's someone else's story and you're there trying to like, I assume I don't act, but like I assume just trying to like understand where someone else is coming from. But then for Delivery Deadline last year, it was kind of easy because I knew that the kind of age group I wanted was all like our age. So I knew people like Dean and Bianca and other actors and actresses that I could.
Jared.
I had Jared as well. Yeah. Totally forgot about you, Jared.
Shout
Sorry,
out,
my
Jared.
bad, bro. Shout out, Jared. Those guys were great, and it was quite kind of calming to know that I knew these actors and I was comfortable working with them, because I think if I'd have got people off Star now, especially because it was my first time properly directing, I would have felt a lot more kind of awkward or embarrassed to make kind of those micro adjustments to performance, especially when they could have been acting for longer than I've been directing. So since the people were kind of my age and I knew them, they were close mates, it was like such a chill set. Like I knew I could say something to them or make a joke with them and it just wouldn't be stressful.
Chill
like,
sets are the best.
Yeah, it was super, super calming.
You're kind of in charge of a few things as when you're filming, the lighting, I don't know, it depends if you're directing and everything. I didn't even know half the technical things.
It's all right.
Do you ever find you get too sidetracked in one stream kind of, if that makes sense? And then, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it depends. It comes down to how many people you've got in your crew. So like my first film, I was doing everything. Yeah. I was camera, editing, directing, writing the script. Whereas other projects, I've been able to have someone that's on camera and I'm specifically telling them what to do without doing it myself, or having someone on lighting, and then that lighting person, they've got a lighting assist. So I can say the gaffer, lighting person, this is the look I want. Can you make it happen? They're like, yes. So they'll start designing it, setting it up, and then they'll get their best person to come and help them do that. So I think it comes down to like, who you've got working on board with you, if you know you can trust them. I know a lot of cinematographers work with the same gaffers or with the first camera assistants because they trust them. They've built up that trust over the years. So I think, getting in with the people that you know you work well with and that you can trust really can be beneficial.
Have you ever found that you've had control or trust issues on set if it's your vision and you're really scared? Because I find that I have that with the Book Nook sometimes.
Yeah, interesting. Look, I've been pretty happy with everyone. Like I'm close with everyone in my class. Like everyone's super talented, and being able to know that people are there because they want to help you create your vision. Yeah. If it was just someone like random that I'd gotten that doesn't know cameras, I'd be a bit like, okay.
What do you do?
Yeah, but no, everyone that I've worked with so far has been like amazing. Like everyone wants to help each other out. Everyone's got a similar film-based mindset. We're all like-minded, which is really nice.
Dream team, then.
Dream team.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
We love. Obviously, there's thousands and trillions of films, short films, whatever's out there. Do you find that there's anything you tend to draw inspiration from, or does it all kind of come from the depths of your subconscious, or is it like you watch a film and then you go, oh my gosh, I love this vibe. I want to recreate it?
Yeah, I love dystopias. I don't know, something draws me to them. They seem really like off-putting and scary, but something at the same time just drawing me to them.
Yeah.
I haven't really had a chance to make a film like that, just because usually they are so big budget, like worlds that have been destroyed by like solar flares or anything. I'm hinting at a certain movie here if anyone knows what that is.
I don't personally, so.
Favorite movie is The Maze Runner. I got laughed at in class on my first day when I told everyone that. It was all out of love, but like, no. I don't know. Everyone had these favorite films like The Godfather and Pulp Fiction.
But even then, those are so like generic favorite films these days. Not that they're bad, but like that's such, you always expect people to say those.
Yeah.
So you were different. That's
exactly. No, it's awkward because I'm kind of like the film student that hasn't seen all those classic films, which is a bit controversial.
Is that a choice, or are you sticking to that choice because that's your label? Or
No, not even. Like, I don't know. I just never kind of grew up watching those kind of movies.
Yeah.
I kind of just entered like the film industry like with, I guess it might have come back to the camera aspect. I was like straight into like wanting to shoot stuff rather than like understand these kind of classic movie tropes and understanding directors and their bodies of work. But I can definitely see how people would do that, and especially like directors these days, drawing inspiration from other directors. I think what would benefit me is looking into cinematographers more.
Yeah.
But back to inspiration, yeah, kind of like futuristic kind of links in with my photography as well, the cyberpunk stuff.
True.
But definitely dystopias is my favorite genre. Any movies?
I'm
that
casting myself in your future dystopian blockbuster.
Sounds
Please just keep me
fantastic.
in mind.
I'll try and write one when I've got a bit more budget.
Yeah, right. Sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have a photography style. Do you have a cinematography style? And is it still growing because you're still learning a lot?
Yeah, no, definitely haven't kind of decided what I want, what my style is yet. I just love shooting anything. I can definitely pick and choose projects. Like I can hear someone pitch a project and be like, oh, that's something that I immediately have ideas for. Whereas some projects might be pitching, I'd be like, I have no idea how I'd shoot that. But even just like little things, like I really love really symmetrical wide shots. So whether it's just like a really wide shot with a tree right in the middle.
Is this Wes Anderson vibes, like that trend that was going around?
Potentially.
Or is it kind of like that?
A little bit, yeah. Even just like stuff like that, and then a completely different kind of thing, like shaky handheld footage. I love that kind of vibe. So like, I don't know, I feel like rather than having a style, I like lots of little touches that can I can incorporate it into the right project, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like you get a little toolbox of different
little
options.
toolbox, and I can pick and choose depending on the project. But I think for my style, I definitely am still discovering that, and I'm not expecting that to come anytime soon. But I feel like, yeah, just more and more experience, experimenting with different mediums, formats, different kind of scripts. I think that'll kind of give me a bit more clarity on that.
I was talking in last week's episode to Georgie about music, and we were saying how we're not sure what kind of music box we want to be in, or if we want to be in one at all. Do you have that kind of feeling? That are you scared of falling into one kind of cinematography box, or do you not really think about it?
Yeah, I think once I find my style, I'm going to be like super happy, because obviously if I'm not happy doing it, or it's not going to be my style, if that makes sense. There's always work out there. People need things. And I think being able to be a cinematographer that can work in any kind of environment, be versatile, have that kind of experience and knowledge to shoot kind of whatever comes your way is really important. But then also kind of adding your signature touch to it is really interesting and important as well.
Yeah.
Can set you apart from other people, I think.
Yeah, and I guess it can always change. Like no one's going to say, oh, you didn't do this last time. How dare you attempt something new? Yeah. That's really exciting. Do you have any idea? You said so the dystopian, the cyberpunky feeling, do you think that's pretty much where your style's heading, or are you still open to like doing romance? Like, you know what I mean?
It's tricky because like I think definitely leaning a little bit towards the cyberpunk, more futuristic stuff, just because that's the way my brain works. Like if someone came to me with like a comedy or like a romance, I'd probably have a much trickier time like shot listing it and storyboarding stuff like that, because my mind kind of just doesn't work that way. Like I don't have ideas straight away. I'd have to put a lot more time and effort into it, whereas, which I'm obviously not opposed to doing, because I love the craft. But when it's just from like a base level, if someone pitches me a dystopia, I'll immediately start envisioning shots and ways we can make that look cool. Right. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that way. And I guess that just comes with time and practice. And the more I do, I think even just saying this now, it is important that I do these, more romance things and comedies and things that push me out of my comfort zone, so I can kind of understand how I would work in that situation. If
and then how you can use that in your dystopian film that needs a romance plot. Like
exactly, you just never know what's going to come up, which is why it's good to kind of future-proof yourself and just kind of dabble in all these kind of different environments to see what works for you.
Yeah, and that's what you're studying for. So
exactly, yeah. We're all still learning, exactly, and everyone's learning. We're all learning with each other. Developing ourselves, and I feel like you never really fully get. There's no like limit. There's not like a point you reach where you're like you can't get any better. Like I'm sure there's all like cinematographers out there that are still like 60 years old or older, and they're still like trying new things. And like with all the new technologies coming out, there's always new things you can learn from and do differently.
That's why we do it. And even the genre you're kind of falling into seems like it's going to be very relevant anyway at this point of life, reflecting the real world, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Kind of heading into AI and all this scary stuff.
Okay,
so if you follow Luke, you'll know that Luke is also a DJ,
yes.
Which is just so out of pocket. Like it kind of makes sense, but it's also completely different from what you are studying.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? Do you love it? Is it a money thing? Is it fun? Is it just tell us your story. Tell
Yeah,
us your
for
DJ
sure.
double life story.
The DJ double life. Yeah, it's so different to filmmaking when, I don't know, I sometimes feel weird having like on my Insta, like, I'm in my bio, I've got photographer, filmmaker, DJ. It kind of just like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They're very separate worlds. I kind of just got into it because I really like the music. Like I've always loved music and listening to music. And yeah, when I was younger, I kind of just saw DJs doing stuff, and again, it looked cool. So I was like, I kind of want to learn that. So yeah, love of the music, started to get quite good at it. Once I turned 18, started doing nightclubs, that kind of thing. But I don't really see it as like a long-term goal. It's just a hobby I like doing, which is nice.
Don't you do it at really big places though?
Yeah.
It's a big hobby. It's a big
it's
hobby.
a pretty big hobby. I've got lucky with a couple of really cool venues, things like that. And it's just about like connections and showing people what you do, and, you know, just like putting all the effort in, showing people that you are, you know, you're good at what you do. You've put the time and effort into learning it. That's kind of setting you up for the future.
Mm-hmm.
I guess those kind of things are across the board, whether it's DJing or photography or filmmaking, you know, reaching out to people, showing them this is what I can do, and then performing in a way that, you know, backs up what you've told them, if that makes sense, you know,
Yeah,
like
it does.
saying you're going to do a good job and then doing an excellent job,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. That's the kind of link between it all. And they're both creative things. Like you do have to have a love and a passion for it to genuinely want to do it. So yeah, but yeah, it's not something I'd kind of make money off in the future. I have had problems with it. I have a lot of hearing damage because of it. Clubs get so loud, and I've got constant ringing in my ears because of it. I don't think I've actually lost any hearing, which is a positive, which is really nice, but it has definitely made me realize how quickly things can kind of go wrong like that, which is another reason I don't think I'll be doing it in the future. I think all the guys in my family have sensitive ears because my brothers and things, they have the same issues. So that's kind of like a sign that it probably shouldn't be the whole life plan, because having to like make money off that and constantly just be performing, you know, you would be damaging ears. So it is nice to have it as a little side hobby and have, you know, good experiences at big venues and things. But I think, yeah, compared to filmmaking, if I had to choose, I'd be filmmaking photography all the way.
Do you have any gigs coming up that our fans can attend?
Nothing planned yet, but fingers crossed we'll be at the Ivy again. Maybe in June. Played there about 6 times, which is good, fun. It's kind of I try not to do too many gigs just to save the years, but every now and then I'll be like, this is my last one. And then a couple of times down the track I'll be like, I kind of feel like doing one again. That was heaps of fun. So
at least, you know it's there, and if
I want to, I think that's a really good position to be in, like having, you know, like a good relationship with these kind of event promoters, be like, hey, like, and they understand as well. Like I'm honest with them. I'm open. I'm like, hey, look, I love playing here. I can't do it every week because of my hearing. And they're just like, yeah, just let me know when you want to play and we'll put you on. I think that's something that not a lot of DJs get, so I'm very like grateful to have things like that.
Really good,
yeah. Have people that understand. Like I think most of the people in the industry understand, you know, hearing loss and things like that. They understand how it can affect you. And that has influenced my photography as well, because I started off doing photography in nightclubs. And that's kind of how I started meeting these event promoters and be like, I actually DJ as well. Like if you ever need someone, like let me know. So everyone it's like a small little world that people like, they do help each other out. They do understand. Which is nice.
From knowing you and hearing all of these stories, I feel like you're very good at self-promoting. Is that the word? Like you're good at networking. Yeah. Do you have any particular things you're thinking about when you're talking to someone that you're trying to network with? Or is there any, like, do you ever go into an event kind of with a networking plan? Because networking is probably the hardest thing, I'd say, for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Usually you just kind of talk to who you enjoy talking to. Yeah, but sometimes definitely. There's a specific person you really want to speak to. Like, do you have anything that goes on in your brain?
Yeah. When I'm like even just the other day, I'd been following this cinematographer on Instagram, and I'd seen some of his work. He's been doing some work for 60 Minutes. And I think I'd seen some posts that he kind of was living around the area I was living in. So I ended up sending him a message and just being like, hey, how's it going? So I just like pitch myself. I'm Luca Don. I'm a filmmaker from Sydney. Like I'm studying film my 3rd year. I'm just looking to get this industry experience this year and next year. If you just needed anyone to help out on any of your sets, please let me know. And it's kind of that like finding a balance between wanting to do free work and paid work.
Yep.
It's a bit of a weird one because a lot of the time, especially at our age, getting experience on big sets, you're not going to get paid because you aren't as experienced as people that have been doing it 20, 30 years. But I think networking is super important in the film industry because there are people out there that are going to be willing to help you out. Like there's definitely going to be times when you reach out to people and they don't reply, or they tell you that they're going to do something, they just don't. And it is a little bit disheartening, but
it really is.
If you were to just, give up doing that, you might miss out on messaging someone that just be like, oh yeah, actually we've got this like major film, like a Hollywood film shooting next week. Like, do you want to come on set, get some experience? And it's those kind of things that can really set you up. Like you can be rejected 10, 15 times by people. All you need is one person to appreciate your work and just take you under their wing. And that's going to help set you up for a really good future, I think. And having industry connections, like even just today, yesterday I helped shoot a music video a couple of months ago for this artist. And then last week, the same director messaged me saying, hey, we're doing another one of this lady's music videos. Do you want to come on board? And I was like, yeah. So if I never said yes to the first one, you never would have got this next one. So it's just like, it really is who you know in the industry.
So much.
And yeah, people are willing to help you out, but it can be so scary to reach out. But as long as you're confident with what you can do, like I'd never pitch myself as something I couldn't do. Like I'd never reach out to like a sound person and be like, hey, do you want me to like shoot sound or do sound on your next film? Because I just wouldn't feel confident with it. But if
you could give them DJ music though.
Could give them DJ music, a little bit of a relationship there, but I personally wouldn't feel confident doing that kind of thing. Whereas if someone asked me to like AC, like be a camera assistant on one of their films, I'm like so happy to do that because I'm really confident with that. So but when you kind of get these skills to a level where you're really happy with them, that's when I think it's a good spot to start being like reaching out to other people. Because for me, it might be different for other people, but for me, I wouldn't be confident, doing something unless, I know it's a duty I can perform, if that makes sense. Especially in front of someone that may have been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years. You don't want to seem like you're all talk and then not be able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm saying don't reach out to people.
No,
but
I get you.
It's a really important thing to be able to, network with people because you just never know what opportunities might come up.
And it's also because there is quite a lot these days, especially on all the different platforms. So it's hard to say no to something sometimes. Definitely. So it's good to know, like, just do it when you're really confident. Do it when it looks interesting to you.
Definitely. Yeah. And even like this shoot I was on yesterday, I was talking with the DP and he was saying there's always music videos. There's always artists that need music videos. They're always putting out new music. It's a completely separate industry, but every song they put out, they may need a music video for it. So then once one music video comes in, that director is then reaching out to their kind of web of crew all over Sydney or New South Wales or whatever.
I might need one later this year. I might be releasing a song. I don't know.
That's very exciting.
I don't know. Probably later in the year, if at all.
Get a little crew together.
Get a little crew, yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Okay, last question for you today is, in your dream $1 million budget world, what's going on? What's your dream film? What's your dream people to work with? What's your, yeah. Yeah,
wow. Okay. Interesting
Go wild, go crazy.
Yeah. As a cinematographer, I would love to spend money on gear. Having a really good camera, really nice lenses, that kind of thing, really good lighting, and then just being able to pay people that, like I'd love to be able to pay crew. It would be really nice. Like I do hate, asking people, hey, can you come and bring all your lighting gear and drive 3 hours north to this shoot? And
I'm not paying you.
Not paying you. I'm giving you like a little bit. Like obviously it's helping out people where you can, but on student budgets, it's really tricky.
It is.
So in a perfect world, if I had millions of dollars, I would be, reimbursing crew for what they're doing. And yeah, gear is all be nice. Definitely reimbursing actors. They're the stars of the show. So gotta thank them for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Actors I'd want to work with. Interesting. I feel like it depends on the script as well. Like you really have to give me like a very specific example. Like,
what script? Like dystopian, I'm assuming, but it doesn't have to be. Like, what's your dream feature film?
Dream feature film
kind of style world.
I wouldn't say it's like a dream, but I have written a feature. Not a script. I've written an outline for one, which is pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
No spoilers, unfortunately. You'll have to wait 20, 30 years for that to be produced.
Damn it.
Something to look forward to.
Yep.
But
you can come back in 30 years on this podcast and talk about it.
We'll still be going. But I think just knowing you have the money there really helps in film. Like knowing that if you want to, do explosions, you're going to have the money for A, the explosions, B, the safety people, C, all the insurance, just stuff like that.
Yeah, this is so true.
Yeah, even just like having the security of money there can be really helpful, but that's very hard to come by, especially on student budgets and at these ages. But I think that's just something you work up to. You start off small. As you get more experience, you might buy a piece of gear that's really out of your budget, but it's going to help. So then your work kind of comes up, and then you start to get more money from that. So then kind of just repeat cycle.
Never ending.
Yeah. But no, I think it's something to look forward to in the future, knowing that if we kind of keep going the way we are, fingers crossed we do, start to get into the industry when we can work on bigger budget things and start to be trusted with that kind of money and show that, you can produce something that's going to be worthy of people investing. You see films with budgets of like $300 million and you're just like, where does that come from? And how has that all been used? It'll make sense. Like, I think.
Yeah, that's so true. Actually, I do have one more question.
Oh, shoot.
You mentioned the thing you're working on now, and
Yes.
you seem, I forgot, were you stressed about it? No,
Yes.
yeah, you were stressed.
So I do have
What
my
is
major
this?
work. Yeah, I've
Major
got my
work.
major work for year 3 of The Bachelor. It is a 15 to 20 minute film. I'm stressed about it. It is.
Why are you stressed?
It is a lot longer than anything I've ever made before. I kind of have gone a little bit all out on what we need for it. We're doing, actually, I'm not going to say, little sneak peek. We are doing some time jumps. So like having to, design for, a past time.
Oh, that's fun though.
It's
awesome.
fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's a little bit stressful because it's something I haven't done before. And again, it comes down to budget. We do have a somewhat solid budget. But definitely we're going to have to do crowdfunding as well, just to have a bit more security with that. But I think even just the script writing as well. I'm not 100% confident with script writing as well. Again, I'm definitely more of a DP. I'm fine to shortlist people's films, shoot them. But it's all a learning experience. And I think the more you do it, the more confident you're going to get with it, and the better you're going to get it with it. So just got to take the time, be in the right mindset to write and create, and fingers crossed that it'll all work out the way it's meant to. But
I have faith. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, no,
Is it
I'm
going to be
keen.
hopefully just at your graduation?
It'll be at the graduation.
Screens,
It's
and
one of
then
the
you'll use it
graduation.
and
Yeah, hopefully
that.
go to the festival circuit again,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And yeah, definitely gonna have to cast actors I don't know this time, which will be a big step
Oh
for
my
me.
God. Is that because you said they're older characters?
Yeah, so we do have one older character and one younger character and a couple of people our age. So it will be, like you were saying, like a good mix between.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think again, it's just like getting out of my comfort zone with it is going to be a really good way to grow, especially in this industry.
Exciting.
So
Very exciting.
yeah.
Well, can't wait to see it. And thank
forward
you
to
so
it.
much for coming today. This has been a very intellectual interview. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. I'll link it below. And thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.